The day my father died, I thought I had lost the last person in this world who truly understood me. But I had no idea that his final gift would open a door to a secret that would break my heart, change my family forever, and teach me that sometimes the truth is hidden not to hurt us, but to save us. My name is Emily Carter, and for most of my life, I believed I knew my father better than anyone. My father, Thomas Carter, was a quiet man. He wasn't someone who showed his emotions easily, but I always knew he loved me. He was the kind of father who would wake up early on cold winter mornings just to clear the snow from my car before I left for work. He never bought me expensive gifts or tried to impress people with his money. Instead, he gave me something much more valuable: his time, his wisdom, and his unconditional love. But everything changed when he passed away unexpectedly at the age of 72. At his funeral, I watched hundreds of people come to say goodbye. Everyone talked about how successful he was, how he built his small construction business into something impressive, and how many people he helped throughout his life. But while everyone remembered the businessman, I remembered my father. The man who taught me how to ride a bicycle. The man who held my hand when I was afraid. The man who told me, "Emily, never judge a person by what they show the world. Everyone carries a story you know nothing about." At the time, I didn't understand why he said those words. Years later, I finally did. A week after his funeral, our family lawyer, Mr. Anderson, visited my home. I expected him to talk about the usual things: savings, property, and paperwork. But instead, he placed an old envelope on my table. "Your father left this specifically for you," he said. I looked at the envelope with confusion. Inside was a small key and a handwritten note. My hands started shaking as I opened it. The note said, "My dear Emily, if you are reading this, it means I am no longer there to protect you. There is something you need to see. Go to the old house on Willow Creek Road. Open the red door in the basement. You will find the truth there." I read the message again and again. The old house on Willow Creek Road. I knew exactly what he meant. It was a small abandoned house my father owned outside the city. He bought it almost 30 years ago, but nobody in our family had ever lived there. When I asked him about it as a child, he always gave the same answer: "Some things from the past are better left untouched." I never questioned him until that day. The next morning, I drove to Willow Creek Road. The house looked exactly as I remembered. The paint was peeling. The garden was overgrown. The windows were covered in dust. It looked like a place that had been forgotten by time. I unlocked the front door and slowly walked inside. Every step brought back memories of my childhood. I could almost hear my father's voice telling me stories while we sat together. Then I found the basement. At the end of the dark hallway was a red wooden door. My heart started beating faster. I put the key into the lock. It opened. Inside was a small room. There were old photographs, letters, and boxes stacked neatly against the wall. For a moment, I thought I had discovered old family memories. But then I found a picture that made my entire body freeze. It was my father standing beside a woman I had never seen before. And standing between them was a little boy. The boy looked about 5 years old. On the back of the photo, my father had written, "Michael, the son I never got to raise." I felt like the ground disappeared beneath my feet. My father had another child? A brother I never knew existed? I spent hours searching through those boxes. And slowly, the truth started coming out. Before my parents met, my father had been in love with another woman named Sarah. She became pregnant with their child, but my father was young, scared, and struggling financially. Instead of facing his responsibilities, he walked away. Years later, after becoming successful, he tried to find them. But it was too late. Sarah had passed away, and her son Michael had grown up believing his father abandoned him. My father had carried that guilt silently for decades. But there was something else. Inside the final box was a letter addressed to me. Emily, I know you will be hurt when you learn this. You may feel angry, and you have every right to. But I need you to understand something. Michael was not a mistake. He was a person I failed. Tears filled my eyes as I read his words. For the first time, I saw my father not as a perfect man, but as a human being who had made painful mistakes. I wanted to be angry. I wanted to blame him. But deep inside, I knew something. My father didn't leave me this secret to destroy my image of him. He left it because he wanted me to fix the damage he created. The next clue was a small address written on another paper. I drove there the following day, and that's when I met Michael. He was a quiet man in his 40s. The moment I introduced myself, his expression changed. "You are Thomas Carter's daughter," he said. I nodded. He looked away. I wondered if he would ever send someone. Those words hurt more than I expected. I sat with him for hours. He told me about growing up without a father. He told me about birthdays when he waited for a phone call that never came. He told me how he spent years believing he wasn't good enough to be loved. I wanted to defend my father. I wanted to explain, but I couldn't, because sometimes love means accepting someone's pain, even when the person who caused it was someone you loved. Before I left, Michael said something I will never forget. I spent my whole life hating a man I never knew. But maybe the worst part is, I still wished he would come back. Those words broke my heart. Over the next few months, Michael and I slowly built a relationship. It wasn't easy. There were uncomfortable conversations. There were moments of sadness. But there was also healing. I realized something important. My father's biggest mistake wasn't leaving years ago. His biggest mistake was believing it was too late to make things right. And maybe we all do that sometimes. We think our mistakes are too big. Our apologies are too late. Our relationships are too broken. But sometimes, one honest conversation can change everything. Today, I still miss my father every single day. I still wish he had told me the truth while he was alive. But I also understand something now. People are not only the mistakes they make. They are also the choices they make afterward. My father spent his final years trying to correct a mistake he carried for decades. And because of that, I found a brother I never knew I had. I learned that forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting the pain. It means choosing not to let that pain control your heart. If this story touched your heart, remember that every person you meet is carrying a story you may never see. Sometimes kindness, understanding, and forgiveness can heal wounds that have existed for years. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, share your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel for more emotional stories that remind us about love, family, and the lessons hidden inside life. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next story. Take care of yourself, and may your days always be filled with kindness and hope. Have a good day.